Federal Courthouse, Chicago, March 17, 2026, 10:22 a.m. The courtroom smelled of old wood and fresh fear. Kang Min-ho, 34 years old, once the silent kingpin of the Black Lotus Syndicate, stood in federal orange, wrists chained, dragon tattoo crawling up his neck like it was trying to choke him one last time. The judge had already spoken the number everyone expected: life, no parole. He had flipped, testified against every major player from Seoul to Los Angeles, hundreds of lives saved, cartels dismantled. But the law doesn't forgive blood, even when it's spilled to stop more from being spilled. In the back row, third seat from the aisle, sat Nia Simone Jackson, 29, natural hair pulled into a low puff, simple navy dress, 6-week-old baby girl cradled against her chest in a soft gray wrap. Their daughter, Aaliyah Grace Kang. Min-ho had not looked at them once during the entire 6-week trial. Every time his eyes drifted toward that row, the dragon on his throat felt like it was squeezing his windpipe closed. The judge adjusted his glasses. "Mr. Kang, before sentence is executed, is there anything you wish to say?" The room waited for silence, remorse, or defiance. Instead, Min-ho did something no one in that courtroom, not the marshals, not the prosecutors, not even his own lawyer, could have predicted. He dropped to both knees. The chains clinked loudly against marble. He lifted his cuffed hands toward the bench like a man in prayer. "Your Honor," his voice cracked on the second word, "I have one final request before you take the rest of my life." The judge leaned forward slightly. Min-ho turned his head slowly until his eyes found Nia in the gallery. "Let me marry her," he said. "Let me marry the Black woman who taught me how to love. And let me hold my baby girl one time before the doors close behind me forever." A collective gasp rolled through the courtroom. Cameras clicked like gunfire. A female marshal's hand instinctively moved toward her holster. Nia's bottom lip trembled, but she did not look away. The judge removed his glasses, rubbed the bridge of his nose. "Mr. Kang, you are asking this court to authorize a wedding ceremony and a moment with your infant child immediately before I remand you to federal prison for the remainder of your natural life?" Min-ho's voice was barely above a whisper now. "Yes, sir. I've taken lives. I've ordered pain. But that woman in the back row, she gave me something I never knew I could have. She gave me grace when I deserved none. She gave me a daughter when I thought my bloodline would end in violence. All I'm asking for is 10 minutes, a chaplain, a ring, and one chance to hold my baby girl before I disappear." The judge looked at the prosecutor. The prosecutor looked stunned. The judge looked at Nia. "Miss Jackson, do you consent to this request?" Nia stood slowly, cradling Aaliyah closer. Her voice was quiet, but carried to every corner of the room. "Your Honor, I taught this man that love is stronger than any sentence. I taught him that grace can reach even the darkest places. If you give us 10 minutes, I'll walk out of here knowing he finally understood what I was trying to show him all along." The judge stared at the ceiling for a long moment, as though asking someone higher than himself. Then he banged the gavel, once, sharp. "Chaplain to the courtroom. We are going to conduct a wedding, and then we are going to allow one supervised moment between father and child. After that, sentence will be carried out." A murmur swept the gallery. 2 marshals helped Min-ho to his feet. The chaplain, an older Black man in a gray suit, hurried in carrying a worn Bible and a single gold band he'd pulled from his pocket. Nia walked forward, Aaliyah still asleep against her heart. Minho's knees almost buckled when she reached him. They stood face to face, him in chains, her in Sunday best, their daughter between them like a living miracle. The chaplain spoke softly. "Dearly beloved, we are gathered here in the sight of God and these witnesses to join this man and this woman in holy matrimony." Naya spoke her vows first, voice trembling but clear. "Minho, I met you when you were bleeding on my emergency room floor. You cursed me in Korean while I stitched you up, but every night after that, you came back, pretending your wounds were still open. I knew you just needed someone to see you. I prayed for you when you couldn't pray for yourself. And when I found out I was carrying your child, I prayed harder. Today, I say yes, again, knowing I may only see you through glass for the rest of my life. I do, forever." Minho's voice shattered on the first word. "Naya Simone Jackson, I was born into darkness. I built my life on fear. Then you walked in with light I didn't deserve. You taught me how to speak to God instead of screaming at the world. You gave me a daughter when I thought my legacy would only be graves. I promise, on every breath I have left, to love you and Aaliyah until my last heartbeat, and then I'll wait for you on the other side. I do." The chaplain smiled through tears. "By the power vested in me, I pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss your bride." Minho leaned forward, chains rattling, and kissed Naya softly, reverently, while Aaliyah stirred between them. The courtroom stood. Some clapped, some sobbed openly. The marshal stepped forward. One supervised moment with the child. Minho dropped back to his knees. A marshal unlocked one cuff. Naya placed Aaliyah gently in his arms. For the first time, Minho held his daughter. He pressed his lips to her tiny forehead, tears falling onto her blanket. "Hey, little Grace," he whispered. "Daddy's sorry he took so long to learn how to be good. But I love you, and I'll love you every day I'm away and every day after I'm gone." Aaliyah opened her eyes, looked at him, and cooed softly. The marshal cleared his throat. "Time." Minho kissed her one more time, handed her back to Naya. He looked at his new wife. "Tell her every day her daddy learned how to pray because her mama never stopped believing in him." Naya nodded, tears streaming. "I will." They led him away. At the doorway, he looked back once, at his wife and daughter, and gave the smallest, most broken, most beautiful smile. Outside, the black van waited, but inside the courtroom, a black woman stood holding their child, wearing a gold band that still carried courtroom warmth. And somewhere, in a place beyond cuffs and bars, a dragon finally learned how to fly. The end.